Dr. White, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Every day just learning more, studying more. Um, Seems that once I finish one area of study and thought, it automatically takes me to another area. There's so much going on. There's always so much going on. And I think for me, where I am at my age and with my background and experience, I'm trying to see like what's next. What's next? And my greatest piece is how can I make a contribution? How do I create a legacy? Or what will be my legacy? Because you're going to have a legacy.
Yeah.
And so, what will be my legacy? And I think that because I've been blessed to have acquired the information that I have, and as I've said with you possibly before, I wasn't the most likely to achieve academically in school.
Right.
I was most likely to achieve in basketball, but not academically. But all of a sudden, all this information just keeps coming at me, and I keep grabbing it and looking for more, and I keep looking for answers. So that's kind of where I am now. That's where people say to me frequently, "Well, at your age, why don't you just retire and do what?" I mean, why would you, after you've lived a life that's full?
Yeah.
Why would stop and do what? My thing, what I want to do, I want to just continue to acquire and study information, and I want to continue to travel around the world, not just locally. Look at people, look at behaviors, try to better understand those, um, and bring something back or leave something that will make this world a better place.
Okay.
Smithsonian's, welcome back. Yeah. This ain't just content. It's purpose. Purpose over popularity. We building legacy, not just views. Every story got meaning. Every voice got truth. Camera rolling, vision clear. We turn purpose into impact here. Smith says, let's go. Let's go.
I think you're doing that because you have me going backtracking.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Atlanta, Georgia, not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped by the MLK church where he preached at.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a lot of things that people don't remember or they're not broadcast.
Right.
Like they killed his family inside that church.
Yeah, yeah.
And I met a young lady who her parents or grandma was the last person to get married at the church or funeral,
really?
something like that. I was like, wow. I was like,
Wow,
so yeah, I went to Atlanta. I was like, okay.
that's
Because
beautiful.
you mentioned the bending the arc backwards.
Right, yeah.
So
the
I
arc.
went there with that in mind. Like, wow, like,
Yeah.
how would it look like?
Yeah, the arc. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the arc is bending, but again, my whole thing is bending. But if we want it, we got to reach up and pull that bad boy down, or else it'll keep arcing,
Yes.
and it'll just go past us to someone else who has a great enough of a need to say, "Hey, look, bend that arc of justice this way,"
Yes.
because there's some things that we're doing that we have to get done. So,
See,
yeah.
you're doing just that. You're big legacies. Like, it's been implanted. If you're not anybody else, you're doing it definitely for me.
So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes. And so, where are we going to travel to? Like, we travel the world. Like, we have to do a podcast abroad, international. Like, where would it be? Yes. Where will it be?
Right now, for me, I would probably go back and take a deeper dive in Africa,
Okay.
because Africa is so big, and people act like, "Oh, let's go to Africa." But I just met a guy from Ethiopia.
Okay.
I was having some kind of procedure done on my leg at the hospital, and we started talking, man. And this brother had so much information, and then he explained to me that Ethiopia was the only African country that was not occupied
Mhm.
by Europeans.
Oh, yes.
See, and I didn't even know that, man. Because we don't hear as much about Ethiopia. I can remember with Ethiopia, Haile Selassie. I remember my grandmother talking about Haile Selassie. I didn't know at that time what they were talking about, but that's when Italy just went over and ravaged them, with guns and planes and what have you. So there's so much more out there. So I would probably pick maybe this time Ghana
Okay.
and spend some more time there. We spent 2 weeks in South Africa, but that was nothing. I mean, that was like a blink. And so I'd probably hit Ghana and then maybe do some more in South Africa and find other places. I don't even know what I don't know. I don't even know what what locations to go to. So that's how ignorant I am about it. So I need to know more about that. And I think the other place that really intrigues me would be knowing more about China.
Okay.
And so they're just all wide open.
Okay.
It's all there.
That's funny. I had a podcast guest. He's from Ghana, and I said if they win the World Cup, I was gonna go.
Oh,
If they win
really?
again,
Yeah.
And they also Ethiopia. I met a gentleman who I used to work with. He's retired now, and he mentioned Ethiopia. Oh yeah. So during this, administration thing, he was so fearful that he ripped his passport and kept his picture in his wallet, like his.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how fearful he is. Like,
Wow.
just don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you think that the fear would no longer be, but the fear is just today like it was when Hitler and Stalin were doing the things that they were doing and other dictators, and we're feeling those same kinds of things now. We're seeing similar kinds of behaviors and similar kinds of attitudes and people being taken out of positions for no reason whatsoever, just because. And people having to try to figure out, should I go outside or should I run and hide because someone will find me and deport me? I mean, it's crazy. And you being from your family being from Haiti,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that there's probably a lot on your mind on a day-to-day basis. People would probably, you could probably get stopped, and even though you were born here, someone would be messing with you. It's just and it's violating your civil rights.
Yeah. I received a message this morning. Someone saying like what to do if you're American born and get deported or detained by ICE. It happens.
Yes.
American gets it's for the numbers. They're
yeah,
people.
2,000 or whatever. And that's what I'm talking about. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And who would think that America would be a country that was doing anything like that?
Yeah.
So there's just a lot, man. There's so much, and and then someone says retire now when all this just so much to be done, so much work is needed. No. So I'm staying in the fight, brother. I'm staying in the fight.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you.
And I have fears too. I have fears about myself of saying like, how much can I say? If I truly express myself and it's out there, are there any repercussions for me? So the fear doesn't just stop. And I'm sure that there are other people, both Black, European, Hispanic, Asian, who feel the same thing. And I think that there are people in probably really key positions who have similar kinds of fear because they know that something could happen to them, either financially or family-wise or what have you. So it's some unusual times.
I did not think about that. I thought I knew about it, but I didn't think about it. It could be fear. It's not that people are scared. It's just they don't know the fear, the repercussions of what's going to happen.
What's the repercussions? What's going to take place? And it can happen to anyone.
Yes. All right. So you mentioned that you're in the Army, the military,
Air Force.
Air Force. It wasn't by choice. It was you had to choose between your career, basketball, or scholarship, or Air Force.
Well, for me, at the time, my girlfriend and I got pregnant, and so it was a choice because I had basketball. I had like 15 basketball scholarships. I could have stayed home. My school even said, "Hey, we'll pay for an apartment." And I don't know what it was that said no. I'm going to go ahead and go into the military. So I chose the Air Force.
Okay.
And I chose the Air Force only because there was a base right outside of my town. in Sharon, Pennsylvania.
So proximity.
Yeah, and the brothers would come in town, and I think it was a radar base or something. And they would come in town and they would march in the street, and they were dating the girls in town. My sister dated one of the guys, and my cousins dated them. So I knew the Air Force. I didn't know that much about them. My uncle, no, my grandfather, and great grandfather and uncle, they were in the Army, but I didn't know anything about the Army itself.
Okay.
But I knew about these guys, and I went out on their base and I played basketball with them. So when I said, "Where would I go?" I said, "Man, I'm gonna do the Air Force." And so that's the piece that made me select the Air Force, and somehow, with my dyslexia, I passed the exam. And so that's the piece that got me into the Air Force.
Okay. So let's dive deeper. Was it influence of your peers, or was it power that you wanted when you went to Army? Like, what was
Mine was when we found out that we were pregnant, she was pregnant. I told my mother immediately. And that's the kind of relationship we had. My mother and I were really close. And her thing is like, what are you going to do? Now, and for her to say, what are you going to do? I already knew about responsibility. I already knew about ownership. My mother was a business person. She had her own beauty shop, and so responsibility, ownership, because I had to do work within the shop. So I knew what that was about. And so I said, well, my responsibility is to take care of my family or my potential family, and to be in a position to do that, which meant I had to earn some kind of income. And I knew about, you need health care and all those other things. And I just thought that the Air Force offered me the best way to do that, and fast. I didn't have to wait for a long time, because when you go into the military of any kind, after basic training, you are immediately put into a job.
okay?
And as soon as you sign up, you automatically start getting paycheck. And if you have family, your family automatically starts getting checks from them, and your children are covered with medical benefits. So that was my thing. So I knew that was instant. So when I signed up, man, it was there, and I think it was November or something like that when I did that. So it to me made sense. I don't remember talking to her about it, my girlfriend. And then also I wanted my daughter I wanted her to be born in a family. So, we got married right away. So when I went to basic training, I was married. And so all those things, that package was all there. And I just felt I was doing the right thing and doing the responsible piece. Even though my school, man, they wanted me to stay and play ball. I even went back to a number of class reunions, but I can remember going back. I think it was like the 40th class reunion. Man, those guys were still mad at me because we were winning a championship, the basketball championship that year.
Yeah.
They said, "Bob, man, if you wouldn't have left, man, we would have won the championship. And you left and went off and got married and went in the military." And people carry that. The coaches, even the coaches. I went over one of the coaches, Bud Laycock, Bud Laycock or Bennett. Coach Bennett was in the nursing home. And so me and Joe Adderholt, one of my other basketball players, he happened to be a white dude. We went to the hospital to visit Coach Bennett. And he was laying there. He said, "Hey, Bubby, how you doing?" I said, "I'm doing good, Coach. How you doing?" He said, "Bubby, if you wouldn't have left, we'd have won the championship that year. We had the best team in the whole state, man." People held on, but I didn't think about that at the
This is
time.
Pittsburgh.
No, it was in Sharon, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Sharon, PA. I didn't think about that. That wasn't my primary thought,
Okay.
and so that's what got me there. It's and right now one of the things that we see with our young brothers, some are having babies after babies after babies and don't want to stand up and be responsible, and that's one of the things that we need to check. I truly believe that there are some genetic aspects of that, and during slavery, the only thing that the brother had that was going for him at that time, and I just kind of like make it up. Here they are Sunday morning, and we get our break from being out in the field, and all the thing that they could talk about is what I got. Two babies over Mr. Bill's property. Well, I got three down Mr. Pete's property. That was a badge of honor at that time. And so I think that when I look at young brothers today, it seems that that genetic aspect, that epigenetics, I think they call it, where there's kind of like a hang on of that it's okay for you to stand on a corner, of you to be with your friends and talk about how many babies you have, but not talk about how you are have taken responsibility for them, how you are caring for them, how you are making sure that they're healthy and that they're okay. Because many of them, they have the babies and do what? Nothing. Buy an item, a snowsuit or a pair of shoes. That's nothing. So there's a lack of responsibility. There's a lack of ownership. So I don't know. It's just a thought that I have because I see it. I see that repeating itself. There was a young friend that I know really well, and he said his brother had like 22 babies, man, 22, and not married to any of them. How could you possibly have 22 babies and not say there's something I'm doing wrong? And he's not taking care of them. And if he is, he might be taking care of one. So, and that's a reality piece. That's a right now kind of a reality piece. So there's just so much, and those are some of the things that keep me awake. How do we get messages through to our young men? And I mean our young men. Right now having men own it. Stand up, brother. Do something about that. You were going to say something.
Yes, but you left the team. You left the team.
I left the team. I did.
You let them down. But the question is, how do you let people down? Like that was my question. So I'm gonna stick here. Like letting people down. Like there's different levels of letting people down because you need to transition. You have to go to a better level. So
Well, I think what it was is just a matter of the highest value. And playing basketball was great. We did have an excellent team. We were great. But not my daughter, I know now, my child at that time was more important than the basketball game. And so we didn't win.
okay.
And what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. We didn't win. Somebody else won. People that kept going on, they kept going to school, they kept eating food, they bought cars. And it wasn't like if we had won, everyone would have received $100,000. Or if everyone would have won, we would have even received $1,000. There was no financial exchange that took place.
No
It was
NIL.
an ego. It was a prestige thing. Like, yeah, man, we won back in 1958, 1959. We won the basketball. Nothing, zero, nada. So it wasn't like
Ego.
it wasn't a big deal for me. I personally, and even don't get me on the sports piece. I think right now today, and I would like to say to my brothers out there, first black, then white, Hispanic, all of them, please take 50% of the time that you invest in sports and put that into your family.
Mm.
And I don't care what 50% of it, whatever you're doing, that interest that you put into sports, and then convert that to your children and your community, we would change the world, man.
Yep, just 20 minutes of
Change the
reading
world.
would
That's right.
make an improvement
Yes, I mean,
dramatically.
that would be so powerful. So yeah, I didn't mean to let the guys down, but that wasn't my thought, or the young kids, or the cheerleaders, or whatever. Or they have another little number up there on the wall or something like. Nothing was lost. As my daughter is so much more important than that. Yeah.
Okay, so family is your priority. So my question is, I'm going back. Do you have hair experience? So your mother was did hair,
Uh-huh.
beautician. So what hair experience do you have? Because where I'm going with this is you're an entrepreneur. So I'm trying to see like what trails did your mom instill in you?
Well, I think unbeknown to me, all my life, from age 5, my mother was in a beauty shop. And we would go to the shop, and mom would be working, doing hair. And we would take her coffee and her breakfast and lunch and what have you. And she was doing that business piece. At the time, I don't think I realized she didn't own that shop, but she was the entrepreneur. She got up in the morning, she did that kind of stuff. And then when we moved to Sharon, Pennsylvania, that's when 1957, man, there weren't that many black women who owned their own business.
Okay.
And so she opened that business, but my mother involved me in it. I was really good in mechanical drawing. So she had to submit a floor plan to the state.
Okay.
And because of my mechanical drawing background, I drew the floor plan up for the state, all the measurements, all those other kind of things. And she trusted me to do that,
Okay.
and so she submitted that, and it passed. I had to show the number of booths that were going to be in, and where the water was, and where the gas and stuff was coming in, and utilities. And then after that, I had a responsibility, and my responsibility was I had to clean the floors on the weekend, on Saturday. I had to change the shampoo because it came and had like a gel. And so you put it in water, and it would be a liquid. And then I had to sterilize the combs, the brushes, the curling irons, and all those. So that was my responsibility, man. And so
It's like co-CEO to me.
yeah, yes, that is exactly it. Yeah, so that was the deal. So I just think, unbeknown to me, or me thinking about it, it probably did kind of lock in after being with Xerox Digital and Wang, and as a salesperson, which is really almost owning your own business. Because in sales, I mean, they only gave you 40% of your salary. And so if you wanted to make money, you had to go out and sell the product, get the customer to buy the product. And then each time you did that, that would give you that other 60% or more. Back then, we could make an additional $5,000 a quarter in addition to your salary, just by selling more products. Back then, $5,000 per quarter. That was 20 grand a year. Man, that was some serious money. And so then when after doing working for those 3 companies and getting downside with Xerox, I left Xerox to sell word processing systems because I was selling copiers. And word processing systems, brand new, they did not exist. So Wang came out with the first ones. So I wanted to sell. One of the guys that I was selling in New York City, and one of the guys said, "Man, these word processing systems have come out." He said, "You should be." And this is the white dude, man. I've had so many positive experiences with white folks. That's what I don't hate people. I don't dislike people. I don't say this group is bad and that group is good. I mean, a lot of my real powerful connections were people who were other than African American. And so he told me about it. And so that made me then say, shoot, I think I'm gonna go ahead and deal with Wang. And Wang was looking for new people, and they were looking for minorities because it was the first time we had been in that sales arena. And so I jumped in there, and so I sold the first word processing system. Then they got downsized, which was out of my control. So then I went to debt to sell large computers. Then they got downsized because somebody else bought them out. So I said two downsizes controlled by someone else. Uh-uh. And then remember, I said, start your own business. And that came probably from my mom. And my mom said, yeah, go ahead and do it. Blah, 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 blah. And so that's what I did, man. I started my own business in it was mid 1990s. And it just seemed I didn't know what I was doing. I had no
92.
idea.
I'm 33 years old.
Yeah,
92.
okay, yeah, right, right. I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no idea. And I can remember sometimes I said, oh, I should have kept my day job. But, it was a part of what was in my head and was a part of my reality. So I said, let's go for it. So that's the piece that I did.
Okay. So the fear. So did you have any fear? Because you already lost the job, so there was no fear in the transition.
Well, transition
From
well,
downsizing to
downsizing.
Yeah.
With Wang, before my competitor was digital, so he recruited me when they found out. They found out that Wang was going to shut down because they couldn't find a new CEO. So I got recruited by DEC, Digital Equipment Corporation. They were also on campus at the Ohio State University. So I never had any kind of hesitance there other than new product. Had to learn new product.
So my question is, what's the longest period you went without employment? I don't know if there's others before that. Like, it was always a steady transition for you?
I've never, during that time period, I did not have any period where I was without a job. Now, I got terminated once, man, when I was the director of operations at OIC, Ohio Opportunity Industrialization Center. And I was the director of operations. I didn't know what the hell a director of operations was. I had no idea what it was. And I thought I was making good decisions. And, it was crazy. The staff was mad at the director, and I was getting information. And they said, well, let's talk to the board. I said, okay, we'll talk to the board. So I went in and talked to the board. All the staff members said, oh, we're with you. Shoot, man, none of the staff members backed me. I went in there, I was all by myself. So I got terminated, and that's when I found out about Xerox.
Okay.
So there was probably a couple months during that time period. That's the only time I've ever been in transition for employment. And I don't remember any pain around it.
Okay.
Because I think it was a quick transition that I made in terms of doing that one and jumping in. So I've been blessed. So it's now you have some reservation when you're selling products.
Okay.
Because some months may be a little bit low.
Yes.
But then your other months could be really, really high.
Okay.
And so you made up for them. But you learn, and you kind of learn. I didn't have anyone in my family who did anything like that. I didn't have anyone that I could talk to, father, uncle, anything like that. Probably not a lot of friends because there wasn't a lot of us doing that kind of work. But, that's I just kept stepping, just kept on stepping.
All right. You're an entrepreneur. So what advice would you give to current entrepreneurs? Like, you're still training.
Yeah, what I would do, man, to me, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you really do need to study it. You need to look at what you want to do, why you want to do it. You need to be talking to someone who is an entrepreneur, and that can really sit down and have a good conversation with you, and then put together a business plan. You need a good business plan in terms of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And what people don't realize is that you start off as an entrepreneur, if you don't have, say, 3 to 5 months of salary already stored somewhere, you could be in bad shape. Because usually it's hard to start off your business and immediately make enough money to give yourself a full salary. Now, if you have a good business plan and you start doing groundwork before you jump out there on your own without savings, then if you do that, you might put yourself in a position where you can start to have some immediate income. But income usually takes a minute. If nothing else, even if whatever you were selling, whatever you were delivering, even if people paid you that day, it still could take anywhere from a month, 3 months before you get the money.
Sorry, that was my question. That was a thought I had in my head for back in the days when you're doing sales, when clearing the checks. Like, any stories on that? That was I did
Yeah.
back in my thought.
Yeah, when we were selling, if I sold, let's say this is July,
Yeah.
I may not get my money because the company had to buy the product. We had to ship the product. The product had to get installed, and so the company had to be using it, and then the company would have to write their check to send it to our company. Now my company always paid the base amount. They always gave us that 40%
Okay.
because our company was they were strong company. You were guaranteed that. But that additional money that you had may not come for probably anywhere from 2 to 6 months. But over a cumulative period, from what you sold, 6 months previous, you're getting that, and then you get to a point where there's a rhythm, and you can see where it's coming. But you always have to have that cap on. You always have to be looking ahead. You cannot just say, "Well, I know my check's gonna come in." Nah, nah, nah. And I was with good company, so I always had my medical benefits and all those kind of things. I always had enough money coming in to make the house payment. That's what that 40% was. And then the other money was the additional pieces that you had. And if you did things um, that first 2 to 3 month investment after that, then that money was usually pretty steady that was coming in. But even with that, you're going to have low months. You'll have, with me, you had companies sometimes would cancel their equipment because they may have found somebody else that they wanted better than you. That's why you always had to do, we call it balanced activity. You're selling, you're doing following up, you're looking for new business, and you're doing customer care. You're stopping in, hey, how's everything going? What's happening? Do you need anything else? That stuff.
How were you doing that? Were you on a cell phone or landline? How were you doing that?
Cell phone? Wasn't no darn cell phone. We had the telephone and landline, and you walked, and you called, and at that point in time, I really knew the receptionist
Okay.
because they could tell you when the CEOs are coming in, or before you left, you kind of set up so that you could and be in contact with them, and you build rapport. You had to build good relationships, and then you follow up periodically. You just stop in. You'd actually put on your calendar, when am I going to go back to see my customers? Make sure that everything is okay. Or if you had a good contact person in that organization who you built good rapport with, they would keep you posted as if anything happened, if anything went wrong. So it had to be, again, balanced activity. You're consistently managing and marketing your business.
Okay. So give an example of the no's. I know you have face at least 10 no's to get a yes.
Yeah, yes.
So give some example of what people are not accepting to technology. What's some?
Well, a couple of those. I mean, some people just right away, I don't want a product, blah, blah, blah. Other people that you have been working with over a period of time, they would say that we need XYZ computers. And so what you do, you would then submit a proposal. And then you'd set a date for you to go back and to deliver your proposal. This is our proposal. This is the product that we think that not think that we have to offer you. This is the product that would address your needs. This is how fast that particular product will run, copies per minute. If you're dealing with a copier, the word processing systems, similar kinds of things that you're looking for. And then they would say, okay, all right, we're going to take this to either our board or our executive committee, and it's going to take us, a week or 2 weeks, or Joe's out of town, so he's not going to be back for a month. So it's that kind of stuff. And then what could happen, you could get all the way through that process and you thought you had it, and someone would say, well, so and so came in, plus they were cheaper than your product, and they could do the same thing, and bingo, that stuff, that was it. So they put in another product, and you had to go and do something else. That's why we called it the pipeline. And the pipeline meant that I always have at least 8 or 10 pieces of business that I'm working on.
Okay.
So if one drops, you still have others that you're working on. And so you wanted to keep that pipeline full. That's why you were always looking for new business and new opportunities. Then you're always looking at existing products, and can you upgrade them to something larger, something faster? There are companies growing. So instead of us needing one, we need two, and we need three in the organization. And not just staying with that one department in the organization. You look at how many other departments in this organization may have their own product. And we use what they call the SPIN process. SPIN, SPI in situation, problem, SPI, implication, N is need satisfaction. So when you're talking to people, you're going through that whole process.
Okay.
Situation. So what's your situation? How's everything going? What have you been doing? What are your copies? So what are the implications of that? What would happen if you weren't able to get this, or you weren't able to do that, or if this was late, or if that was late, then couldn't that be a severe problem for you? That could cost you a significant amount of money if you're not getting that, if you're not generating that, or you would be late on your products, blah, 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 and need satisfaction. So here's what I'm thinking. We have a product that I think will address all those things for you. And this product would look like this, and it would do that, and would do that. So you just had a way of being able to talk to and interview and deal with your potential clients.
Okay. All right. So earlier you mentioned the black man having kids. So you're in 2026. You're 18 years old. Give practical steps. You're in sales. You had dyslexia. How do you get your first gig? Like, what pathway would you have for somebody's 18, your age?
18.
This day and age.
Yeah.
How would you?
Well, the first thing is that take a look at your own current skill set. Did you do anything over, as a kid? Did you go and work in the grocery store? Did you work downtown? Did you do anything? See if you have any kind of a skill set. The other piece that I would do is to look for organizations in the city that will help young people identify job opportunities. And there are a number of organizations around town that do that. I would also go to the city. I'd go to the county. I would go to the federal government. I would look at some of the top companies in town, and then I would call and I would go and fill out job applications for those organizations. But before I go to any of those organizations, what I would do is to read up on them, because today you young folks have everything. I mean, it's right there on your phone. You can look up who the company is, how long they've been around, what kind of jobs that they have. And so I would put together a plan to be going to 2 or 3 companies a day, and not every day, but every other day, that I'm going to. And I would set up appointments, and I would go to apply for those jobs. I would look at my resume. I would find organizations that help with resume. I would also go online today and say, with the stuff with AI is powerful, other organizations. What would be a good resume? What should be in that resume? What should not be in that resume? What is the need to know? for organizations and companies. What should I lead with this company versus if I'm going to another organization, what might be a thing to lead with there? Um, and those are the kind of things that, and I would hope that if a young person finds himself at 18 in that position, that they have been doing something before that. During the summer, did you have any kind of summer jobs? Did you work for your mother, father, uncle, aunt, cousin? Because what they need to start to realize is that as they're coming out of school, they have to do something. They have to have jobs. Are you going on to college? Are you going on to a trade school? I think today trade schools offer as much as getting a college degree, and many times you can get it faster and make as much, if not even more money if someone if they have a particular kind of a trade. So those things are there and those things are available. So that's the kind of thing that I would do, and I would talk to other people, young people, usually talking to uncles, aunts, cousins, family members. They know people in their family who would have that kind of insight. If they are in a church, that would be absolutely wonderful because churches tend to be able to help young people define positions, their first positions, and they would have connections or people that they could talk to. It should be, I would say, like my great grandsons, um, looking at the kind of stuff. My great grandsons are amazing. All of them are selling water. And then they get pocketfuls of money, boy. These little guys. I went to the house the other day. There were 5 big cartons of water sitting on my front porch. I said, "What in the heck? What is it? Who put this water on my front porch?" And my great grandson, I found out later because I went out and it wasn't there. So I called, said, "Keegan, what's up?" He said, "Oh, Granddad, I had my water delivered." He's 14. And they delivered the water. He said, "I also ordered from Amazon an ice chest because the guy that I was working with didn't like to share his money the right way. So I went and got my own." And he said, "Then I go get a bag of ice and I sell my own and have my corner." And this cat pulled out a roll of money, man. It was amazing. And doing it on a regular basis. So starting like that. So let's say 14, 15, 16, coming out of, well, he'll be 15, 16, 17, coming out of school, he already has customer service. He already knows how to talk to people. He already understands how to order things ahead of time. So he had to estimate how much water would I need, what would it cost, how much money can I make, on this investment. So those are the kind of things young people should be doing anyway, because in life today, you're not going to be in school forever. And even if you're going to go to college, you still need money over the summer. And in college, and many kids, they need to be able to work while they're in school, unless they're in a position where they don't have to do that. But most of them do. So those are the types of things that I think young people should be doing. And I would hope that parents are helping them. But what we end up with is some parents never had that kind of exposure themselves, so they don't know what to do or how to do things. So things are happening. So it's just a challenging piece. But as a family should be helping young people now. If they're not planning for them to go to school, college, or trade school, they should be planning for what job are you going to get? What company are you going to work with?
Okay.
Makes
So,
sense.
yes. So you're not going to retire. So tell us, what do you do? Like, tell us more about your business.
For me, I really think about because to me, retiring. Some people say retiring is I just come home, I don't have to do anything. And I could imagine you may have had a kind of job where, I don't want to continue to stick it with this job, but there must be something that you like, something that you want to do after you after. But I'll give you an example. The guy from Ethiopia, we were up at VA, and he said, "What I find," he said, "there are a lot of men ex-military. He didn't mention women. He said men. He said they retire. They get their military money. They don't have to do anything. He said some of them have their home or they're renting, or whatever. He said, and they get TV and they have every channel that you need. They watch sports all day long or whatever they watch. He said, and that's all they do. He said, consequently, when you get up in the morning and you don't do anything all day, he said the reasons why they're coming here, he's because they stop using their limbs, they stop using their body, they start to break down, literally break down. He said, and they're coming in here with diabetes. So if I'm sitting watching TV all day, guess what else I'm doing? I'm eating all day long. Probably not eating the right things. Uh, putting the salt and blah 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 blah. He said, so that's when some of their problems start to take place. And he gave me a good analogy. He said, this is the way I try to explain to people. Your brain is your operating system, and your brain controls every part of your body. So when I'm up and active, my brain is okay, we're getting ready to run over here, we're getting to do this, send some to the arm, to the leg, to the la, 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 all that kind of stuff, because all those parts of the body, extremities are operating. But if I'm sitting at home, the brain is saying, well, them legs don't need a whole lot of oxygen. He said, so just send a little bit down there so that when they get up to go to the bathroom, they can go to the bathroom, they can come back. Well, he said there are valves that turn on and off. So if you're not active, what you're doing, those valves get cut down to a bare minimum. And when they get cut down to a bare minimum, then when it's time to send blood back up and they don't have the pressure to send the blood. He said, so your body, you are telling your body what you need to continue to function at a particular level. And if I'm at that sedentary piece where I'm doing nothing, that starts to happen. And then all the stuff that you need just starts to break down on you because why? You're not using it. And there was a good analogy. He said those are the kind of things he tried to share. So he says, if you're going to do that, then build in, once a week, several times a week, where you're at least going to go out and walk at a certain time, or you're going to go to the gym, or you're going to do something to keep your body vital and alive and functioning. So when you need it, it's going to be there for you. And that's why my arm right here is kind of jacked up because I, over the winter, didn't do any lifting at all. And so I'm at Sam's Club. I'm grabbing them big old cases of water, boom, 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 all that kind of stuff, man. And my shoulder started to bother me. So I put this lidocaine patches. He said, nothing. Then after 3 days, my triceps shot up under my arm, under my shoulder. And what happened, not my bicep. One of my biceps popped. And so consequently, it just pulled up. And it's almost like you get a Charlie horse, how it goes.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing in arms. So I had to kind of push that bad boy down. And the blood, all this was all blood inside. So it was all bruised. And then it floated down to this. But why? And I stopped to think about it. I haven't been doing anything all winter. I haven't been doing any lifting because usually I go up to the gym and I have like a 2-hour piece that I do. I do the elliptical, then I do the stuff with my arms, and I do sit-ups and do some free weights and abs. But I wasn't doing any of that. Saying, okay, I'll wait till it comes. And then I jump out, not thinking about it. I'm grabbing all this water and those things are pretty heavy. You're
Yes.
40. And so I think what ended up happening, I grabbed it the wrong way and I didn't think about it. And so that arm said, shoot, they just gonna throw all this stuff on me without getting me ready, getting me prepared. And so, that's why I'm saying the whole piece around retirement. If I retire, my thing is, I think where I am right now, I'm writing. And I got 2 books done, and I have a third one that I'm working with. I have 3 new training programs. The latest one that I'm working on is the one for youth. And so I've been working. I mean, every morning I get up and I start working on that. Then in the evening I do work on it. So I got those completed. I did a pilot with 15 kids last Saturday.
Okay.
That went really, really well. And so now I'm ready to put that out on a larger scale, and it's very promising. And my brain is thinking about 27 other things that I have. So that's where my energy is, and that's my retirement. I think what I would like to do, I'm getting to the point where I think I would like to write, um, develop training concepts and ideas, and travel. So that would be it. I was talking to Rochelle, and what I said was, we need to take at least two 2 week vacations out of the country every year.
Okay.
So that's and those and that would run, probably could run $20,000. So generating what I need, additional money that I need to do something like that. So that would be my whole piece around retirement.
I'll give you extra boost. You gotta put me in it, so the price gotta go
Okay,
up.
all right, come on in, come on down with us. I got you here.
Yeah.
But that would be, but that's it. I mean, just think of all the stuff that's going on. I was watching the other night. They were showing cruises, man, every kind of cruise imaginable. To every place in the world. You can go to some place real cold, some places really hot, some places desolate, some places you land and you get off and you walk,
Yeah.
other places you just sit down and just float. So all those things, but at each location you're meeting new people.
Correct.
Because I want to meet the people of that particular location
Okay.
that I'm going to, as opposed to just doing a drive-by.
Okay.
So that would be that is probably retirement for me. That would make sense. That's the ideal, and it's achievable.
Okay.
It's definitely achievable.
Yeah, my auntie. I think she stays in the country 2 weeks, but after that, she's on a
Okay.
cruise. Like she knows who she is. My auntie.
Well, that's good
Yeah,
then.
she does not stay home. Like
See, that's beautiful.
yes.
And doing that would be great. So, and if I could do more, I would. But I would say just 4 weeks a year in another country. And you could do more, if that. Now, that doesn't preclude making a run down to the Caribbean or running over somewhere else. That just says those are the two big ones, but there could be any other thing
Correct.
that could be done during it. And you have family things that's happening, and friends, getting married or birthdays. Like my son just had his 65th birthday, July the 11th. And I got ready to go out. He wanted to go to Vegas, but I didn't want to go to. I didn't want to fly to Vegas for a couple of days, man. And
Yeah, I don't know if you do that heat out there.
He said it was hot. He said it was hot, man. Because I know I've been to Vegas. There were some times we've been out. It was 119, man. It was like a scorcher. So, yeah, but so that would probably be. No, probably be that is the ideal piece. And then while I'm on these cruises, I'm really going to be writing.
Okay.
So it's really business.
Yeah.
Because in my business, in my line of work, that's what I do. So those could be all business write-offs.
Yeah.
So
all right. So
that's where my head is.
You spit the game, leaving legacy, what you're doing, overcoming fear. And the thing is, like you mentioned, like changes, accepting change. Like you mentioned, your nephew or your grandson by getting his own things. Like there's going to be barriers, but you still have to keep going. So that's my question. You're constantly evolving. You're constantly pushing. For example, you got dyslexia. Like, what makes you keep pushing? There's some people that they just let them stop. They make excuses. Like some people that's unable to read at the old age, they just make excuses. Like,
you know what? That's been interesting because and people don't know it. All my trainings, what Melanie does is to highlight certain words in a sentence.
Okay.
And so when that word comes up on the screen, I mean, when that slide comes up on the screen, I'll see those words. And I've kind of memorized
Okay.
what that is. So I won't read the sentence,
Okay.
but I'll be able to talk about it because I know what information is in there.
Okay.
But what I'm also doing, I'm also, whenever possible, if it's a shorter sentence, I will just force myself to read it. Say, okay, stay out in front of it, do this, all the little techniques that I'm trying, even now. So still trying to get to the point where I'm able to read that in front of people. My problem is I don't want to grab anything that I've never seen before and try to read that. I'm just not going to do that one because that that's fear. That would be frightening for me. Whereas for other people, they would prefer, oh, I'm not a problem because I can just read it. Well, that's not it for me. That is a problem for me. So I want to see if I can. I had a friend that told me, "Oh, you're not dyslexic. You can get past that." And no, this is a lady that has like PhDs and she's written 6 or 8 books, and she stand up in front of like 15, 20,000 people, do presentations, and I think about the statements that she makes, and I keep trying to say, is there something else that I'm missing as opposed to this dyslexia thing? But bottom line, I do have dyslexia.
Okay.
My test at college told me that. But that doesn't mean it's an excuse. I don't care what it is. It doesn't mean that I can't do what I need to do to achieve my goals. I have also been thinking with teleprompters where they have the teleprompter and they could have the words bigger. That might be something that would help because the words are bigger and they're scrolling. And so, you could see them ahead of time. So that may be something. I don't know, but I'll keep trying. So I just haven't given up, even though I have that. And what I say for people, um, if you have a challenge in one area,
Yeah.
you probably have developed another skill higher in another area that will allow you to work on it. You find some way to be able to look at other people with different types of physical challenges, handicaps. They still survive. So I was at the VA today. Cat had his chair, man. He rolled around in his chair. He drove up. He can get in and out of his chair on his own. So you make a way. You make a way to make it happen for yourself. And if you say, I'm not going to allow this to stop me, then it's not going to stop you. And if that means a different kind of job that you have to look for, then so you look for that. But it's out there. Everything is out there. And what I often find is that when you take one step, then boom, there are opportunity, next step, next step, next step. There's always another opportunity for you to do something. Or if you take the first step, someone else will be there. And I tell they would absolutely be there.
Act of faith.
Someone will be there. Someone will be there. If you sit back and do nothing, if you do nothing, you get nothing. If you complain or if you let fear shut you down, and fear is false events appearing real, okay?
Yeah.
So if you buy into that and allow it to paralyze you, and you just have to own it. He had a little workout. He said, Grandpa, I've been doing something. I said, what have you been doing? He said, well, I get up in the morning and I do so many push-ups. He said, and then I'll go get myself cleaned up. He said, then I'll go do a task around the house. So I'll go wash some clothes. He said, then I will read for 20 minutes and then I do some more push-ups. And he had all this stuff. I said, Keegan, where'd you get all this? He said, well, what I do, he said, I look on my phone and I'll ask for these positive kinds of experiences. He said, and then what ends up happening, what is that rhythm that if you ask for
Repetition.
something that the computer will find things like that. Is it algorithm?
Yes.
He said, then he said this to me. He said, then the algorithms brings these kinds of things to me. And so he showed different people, men and women, who are doing positive things about your health, your thinking, your fitness and what have you. He said, so I have about 10 or 12 of those things. He said, and then they just keep popping things to me. And he was doing these things. I'm saying, wow. He's 14 years old. So the point that I'm making is that that cell phone is being wasted because people are usually just looking at somebody doing a dance or some kind of crazy thing. But it's a PhD. You can get on that phone, you can get a PhD just by using that phone. So use it for something that's going to be in your best interest as opposed to you using the phone just for a whole bunch of fun and crazy kind of stuff that people are frequently do on those chats. And I found myself getting hooked on them when you see people dancing or these little kids who are talking or what have you, all that cute stuff. But at the same time, man, for me right now, AI, man. I'm kicking it with AI, boy. AI is helping me a lot. And people, I'm afraid to use AI. It'll take your. No, AI ain't gonna take my ideas. Shoot,
Yeah.
I got too much going for me. AI will help me organize my ideas, but they're not gonna take a thing from me.
So how do you teach the dyslexic person to use AI or a person that can't read? How would you encourage them to use?
I would just tell them to actually go on and say, hey, I'm dyslexic, but I have some interests, some things that I'm really interested in. And what I'd like for you to do is to be of support for me. And these are the things that I like. This is the thing that I would like to do. This is where I find some of my challenges. So can you help me to be able to start to step through these pieces and help me to move away from or to be able to manage the challenges? And just ask that a question and bingo, it will start flowing. And then when it comes back, continue to ask questions. If it gives you some things that you don't want, you can say, hey, look, AI, I appreciate what you just did, but that's not me. You moved down the wrong. Like the time when I asked AI, I said, I want you to create a picture for me that I could put in on my website of me standing in front of a classroom in the military. So they're going to have ex-military people out there or current military people, and in the background it shows U.S. military, something like that. And then I want an audience that I'm talking to. Well, AI came back with a white guy
Mm.
and a whole bunch of older white dudes and one or two white females in the audience. And I said, AI, I really appreciate what you did, but guess what? I ain't white. I am African American male. I gave him my age. I also said, whenever I'm in front of a class, I usually wear a sports jacket. I'll have a banded collar or shirt on. And then in my audience, I need a diverse audience. I need diverse military people because military folk we've always been diverse. And I want some African American females in there, in the front, not in the back, not in the side. And it came, and first of all, it apologized to me. It said, James, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't give like an explanation. He said, I'm here to serve you. So let me give you another picture. Bam, gave me another picture. Perfect, man. It was me, diverse people, black sisters up in the front, black people around. And it also had some people that looked maybe a little bit Asian, and it had some white folks in it. So it was diverse, like the world should be. But the conclusion that I reached at that time was that AI is going to give you what it has been programmed with. So if more white people have been using AI, it's going to get information from them globally. Now, as Black folk, Hispanic folk, Asian people, Haitian people, as we use it and give it who we are, then what we do, we integrate AI. But we can't sit back and complain about AI if we don't use it. AI it's just out there. All AI is a information that's stored. And if we don't put anything in there to be stored, when we ask for it, guess what we're not going to get? We ain't going to get a damn thing, right?
Right.
We're going to get information from the people who have stored that data. So we have a response. That's another thing of sitting back and complaining, well, AI won't do this. No, we've been sitting back on our butts and not really getting involved with it. And so consequently, it's you ask for something that's not there. And you've been using it because you got me hooked up on it. So I mean, so you started using it, and so it has some of you in there, and it has some of me in there, and then everybody else that we know of. So now, when we ask for something, it'll give us that data and it'll give us that information.
Yep. It got me in trouble too, or it gave me in trouble. So yeah.
Well, how did it get you in trouble?
No, it's just like people, or actually, I got the Meta glasses, but at first, very few people knew about it, but now everybody's like, "Are you recording?" I'm like, oh my goodness,
Because
no.
you told them. See,
Advertisement, it does play a lot with advertisement too. It's like it's more, they want to get more people out there. Like I had like 3 years when it first came out, nobody knew anything, but now it's like airport everywhere.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But that's what happens. So what you have to do, you have to realize the environment that you're in.
Yes.
I don't know of anyone in business who would want you involved with those when they're having a business meeting. A lot of managers don't want it because they don't feel comfortable themselves and that someone's recording me. And I might say the wrong thing. I might do la la la. So they feel intimidated by that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so they said, no, I don't want it. So people are afraid of it.
Yeah.
And so that's where it is. So you have to understand the environment that you're in and what are the consequences and the benefits of that guy. So you
in real time.
You should just have two pair of glasses. That's one pair, and you have another pair that's just plain glasses.
Yeah.
And so when someone says something, oh no, those are way boom, I've got my other ones on, and they know it. And that way you're staying ahead of the game. I think it's an opportunity for us. And it's up to us to be able to utilize it and to program it so that it will become familiar with me first. And I think that there's enough, again, algorithms. So if I start talking to AI in a certain kind of way, it's going to go out and grab enough information that will satisfy what I need and what I want. And I'm always amazed that when I ask things, it'll go out and say, well, it's at a point now where it says, hey, well, you also had this training program because we talked about this a few months ago, and you had this would also complement. So it is really allowing me to go grab to go grab information and data that I would just sometimes forget to bring. So it's a tool. It's like any other tool. And if you learn, it's like your glasses, man. People can use them and not know how to buy them and not know how to use them. It's not going to work for them.
Yeah.
But once you know how to use it, it's a powerful, powerful tool for you. It's like a saw. Some people can use saws really well. Other people, like, they're afraid of just hearing the news. They start running in another direction.
Yeah.
So it's like anything else that's out there.
Okay.
So what are the hot questions that you have, man? What did you pick up from being in Atlanta?
Oh, you're not ready for
so
that.
many people. I'm ready.
I took a lot of notes.
What was the primary takeaway from your experience in Atlanta with people who have been doing what you're doing for years?
So basically, it's the start. A lot of people. There's a fourth one. So people that went to 3 of them and still never start their podcast.
Wow.
So
You're way down the road.
yeah, and it's just for me personally is having my own 10 commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning there are some things that are non-negotiable that has to be done. Like everybody has their 10 commandments, so everybody follows something. Everybody has their beliefs, and they follow it. Like that's it.
Yes.
So I need to create my own. So I haven't really created my own.
Well, you know what that would be? That would be what are your set of principles
Yes.
that you embrace relative to podcasting?
Correct.
And you even mentioned one today when you started, and you said, I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to push back on you.
Yes.
And so I think that would be, it's like a lemon, man. You don't get all out of it until you squeeze it a little bit. And then when you squeeze it, you get all kind of juice. And I would think that anyone in podcasting or talking to people, you want to get things out of people that is above the norm. And to me, if you don't squeeze, then there's some things that they'll even forget that they have. They don't even realize it.
Correct.
So it's up to you to push. And your role should be, you're professionally nudging people.
Yep. Make them defend what they're saying.
Right.
Like you say you didn't try it, defend it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yes. Build up your case. Yeah, it's just being in a room, how people just get online. Because one thing you didn't mention, but like you said, gold employees and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you need your visual resume. So that's why I come into place. Like,
Yeah.
people are looking out, for example, when you transition, somebody referred you to that place.
Right.
So, but your visual resume, people are looking like, what are you displaying? What's your center? Like, you only put
Right.
what's in your heart. Because people, they haven't started a podcast. So whatever you have on your heart and you put it online, that's what you're comfortable with. That's how you get recruited. That's how sponsorship works now. Because sponsorship is like, what activity are you getting? What momentum are you getting? Like, what crowd of people?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a new way of creating income.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing. And my grandson talked about becoming like a podcast, and you making money from podcasting.
Yes.
And he showed me the guy. I said, "Yeah, but that guy was in the pros." Bro, I said, "And you don't have that." Yeah, I said, "You don't have any background yet." I said, "Now you could start, and you may come up with something new, but you got to have some reason why people want to follow you."
But you said it already. Like, look back at what you already did.
Right.
For me, I always been behind that camera. So we work on the book now. From the cameraman to the CEO, it's like, it's evident. I always been doing it. I always going back to it. Like, but now making a statement like, this is my niche. Like, this is what I do.
The cameraman to the CEO.
Yes.
How long or large is your book going to be?
Right now it's only 42 pages.
Okay.
And I'm going to add to the back end, like what they call it, like 30-day thing. I forgot what they call it, like
The questions, Q&A.
it's like a 30-minute, not 30-minute, like a 30-day challenge type of thing.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I did when I first started. Is like doing 30-day challenge, like go live, like whatever came to your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get people going the first 30 days, make it a habit. To break that habit, just go online. Because right now I'm practicing going live.
Okay.
Nobody's online. The people come in and out, just going live, just practicing. Anybody come in, they ask a question, I just answer it. Like, so yeah, defending my statement. Like, hey, I've been doing this. Like,
right.
No matter where you are, from where you are, I know I should be able to help you get to the next step.
That's nice. That's good. And then the need is there. And plus, I just think the camera is so powerful, man.
Yes.
That is powerful. Powerful things.
Yes.
I like your core principles or 10 commandments or whatever you want to call those. And nudge people. My take would be this. I would look at that camera the same way I look at listening. If I'm a good listener, I can usually pull 35% more information from a person. Not saying anything, just listening to them. But in my listening to them, what I'm doing, I'm giving them what I call brief encouragers, like, yeah, they're telling me more, that's interesting. So they see this affirmation. And then what I also have are what I call are door openers, which means after they finish talking, I would then say to them, I didn't want to interrupt you, but a few minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, you said blah, 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 blah. What did you mean by that?
Yes.
So you open that door again. And what ends up happening, that person goes back into that particular piece of data information and they're digging. And usually when they're digging, all of a sudden they say, oh, I forgot I even did that. Yeah, that was good. So you help them to discover things that they have forgotten.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing on the camera. While they're talking, you're taking notes, and then you say, "Jim, what do you mean by that?" And you've done that a few times.
Yes.
But that's the piece that's important, man. That's powerful.
Yes. It also helped me communicate. I'm seeing how you talk, like your delivery is like, okay, like why are you saying this? Like, oh, just studying people. I'm always this podcast and okay, just do it. But now when I went to Podcast Summit, I learned the other and like how to get me out of that terrier barrier. Like what's been governing me is like, okay, I grew up in the church, so it's like that belief system. It's like still the church is good. It was like, go there, build your resume, stuff like that. But it's like there's some things that could enable handicap me or that has even from just background, being from Haiti or parents from Haiti, it's like we're always giving. Like Haiti's always giving, but it's like what do we stand for? Like I made a comment, not comment, but the last podcast somebody mentioned about Haiti. He was in Haiti, assistant of the prime minister, and people are negative, talking like that's back then. That's why can't talk about nothing now? I'm like, oh really? Now you ask for it, and I want to give you more current, like I just want like people that's
right.
So you fueling me like, all right, this what you want. Now you better like it because our negatives
So
like
it is, right.
It's made for you.
It's coming, yeah.
Yes. So that's what podcast is teaching me. How to not take the negative so personal. That's also too. I was always controlling, but I'm always used to editing, like trying to make good image. It was like that's not me. That's God. Like stop trying to control the outcome of people.
Just let it flow.
Yes.
And then you edit whatever flows out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that would be good. And to me that it's the best interviews that I see or the best podcasts is when people are just flowing.
Right.
It just starts to flow, and then whoever's interviewing them will say, "Well, what about this? Or what about that? Or how did you do this? Or why didn't that happen?" Yeah. So you have to be listening to them, and also you need to know what your commandments are.
Right.
Am I following my commandments? Because my commandments say I'm supposed to do this and supposed to do that.
Yes.
So what other questions? What else do you have for me today?
Same old question. I got how to end podcast. What does purpose over popularity mean to you?
Purpose
over popularity.
Purpose over popularity. Purpose means I have a mission. I have a vision. There's a reason why I live. There's a reason why I get up in the morning. There's a reason why I go to sleep. It's a validation of who I am at that particular time. Popularity means that I'm doing something that may cause people to laugh or smile, but it doesn't mean that there's any real value in that other than that moment. Oh, he's popular. Oh, he's a nice guy. But what am I giving back? And I would say popularity, from driving that's an ego thing. I'm feeding my ego on popularity. So there's a need inside of me as an individual to have people see me, like me, compliment me. But that pales in comparison to purpose. Now, there may be some other people in this world who, because of where they are, they love popularity. There may be a need that they have that demands them getting attention from other people. And I think that's when your ego is kind of out of whack. But that's my own opinion. It's my own opinion. Now, if I'm an entertainer, I want popularity, but It's driven because I have a purpose. My purpose is to entertain, and as a result of it, I have become popular because they want more entertainment. But just when I look at those two, purpose is the driver. Keeps me going.
And from this interview, you chose purpose over popularity. You chose to take care of your
Yes,
family
right,
over
right.
basketball fame. So yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, yeah. That's how I connected that.
That's a good one. That's exactly it. Because popularity, if I stayed and played ball, I want people to say, "La, la, la, there's Jim out there again. He made some points. He did some this, that, and the other." Yeah. But purpose was family.
Yes.
That's good. That was a good catch, man. That
Yep.
was a good catch.
I'm listening.
You're listening. You're listening. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your time. Is there anything that you want to mention, or how can people reach out to you?
Oh, yeah. I'm struggling again with getting my website back up.
Okay.
So probably the best thing is my email,
Okay.
J White, the number 2 at columbus.rr.com. JWHITE, the number 2 at columbus.rr.com. Now I do have my phone and in the text messages. I do look at those. 614-562-3372. But I think right now, as I'm struggling to get this website up, because I want my website to be an invitation.
Mm.
In one of the books that I'm finishing, just finished, the one where I'm talking about She Birthed America,
Yes.
speaking about Black women. What I'm doing, the contribution of Black women, what I'm doing with that as an opener, I'm saying I'm inviting people in to walk with me. Walk with me as I explore the many challenges and tortures that African women have endured since they were taken from their villages in Africa and since they were thrown into the slave castles where rape and pillage, and they could have been there for months on end. I can't imagine how devastating, how demeaning that would be. And then from there, they were thrown into the bowels of a ship for 2 months. And how did they clean those ships out, man? You had people stacked back and forth, and they were sick. They urinated, defecated. So it wasn't like you could take a water hose and wash it out down the drain. How did they clean those things out? And people there, and women were there. They were raped. They were beaten. And the interesting thing is that if you had women aboard your ship and you landed in the new world and one woman came on or one woman came off, you get paid for one woman, right? But what if one woman came off and a woman and a baby got off? You got more money because you had two people. And if the baby was lighter skin, then the light skinned baby got a little bit more money than the darker skinned baby because the lighter skinned baby could be sold at a premium price. They could work in the big house, So that's the piece I've finished. And so what I'm asking people to walk with me through that experience, but look at what women have endured. And that's why I say women birthed America, because they were always there. They did everything, man. Even aboard the ship. They probably at some point in time cooked food or distribute food or took care of people or what have you. It's great. So bottom line, I am trying to get my website back up. I don't want anything big. I just want it to be like a landing page where once people want information like we're doing now, I just want them to land there. I want them to see enough that will really prick their consciousness. Because writing is that's going to be my next writing and training. So, but that's where I am.
Cool. I don't know if it's a secret, but I was like, how are you writing books with dyslexia?
Well, I've never had a problem writing things down. I've always been able to write stuff. Dyslexia was for me was the reading it,
Okay.
and so that's where I would have the greatest challenges being able to read that information. But writing, I don't have the same kind of a block when I'm writing. And now with the AI stuff, it helps me even more because I put down the ideas and the concepts and what have you, and it helps me to package those things. It also edits. So if I forget something, a word or what have you, it will edit that piece. So that makes it work really well. It's like having a administrative person
Yep, it
by
is.
your side 24/7.
Yep. Yeah, that's one thing I forgot to do. Like some people they just talk on YouTube.
Right.
They go back, transcribe it, make that a book.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that could work. And I haven't figured how to do that one. I think that I get more from writing as opposed if, and I talk, and I can talk. But when I'm trying to write a book, there's all this conscious thought that's coming through,
Yes.
and when I'm writing, I could do that, and it just comes that way for me. So that part is that's my best method of doing things, and I haven't tried just speaking into it, and I guess I could, but there's some I'm just so comfortable grabbing a piece of paper and jotting it down,
Yes.
so that works well.
Yep. That's all I got for me. But anything else you'd like to share?
No, man, I just appreciate what you're doing and just want to encourage you to continue to do it, man, because
Yeah.
it's so needed. And we have a few people that we still need to get back with probably and
Yes.
do some more work with. But
Yep. The doctor brings in the patients, so
yeah, that's it. Every time.
yeah. Make sure you guys don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, let us know what you want to hear. The negative feedbacks I don't really pay attention to. Like,
But
I need to.
I want negative feedback. You know what? Let me say this, and this would be before you came in. I've been watching a documentary on Black folks in America. And it went back to like the probably mid 1800s, showing oppression. And then it showed Black people all the things that we've done. We have fought in every single war that the United States of America had. And we fought nobly. I mean, we did a great job. We were the Buffalo Soldiers, and people don't understand what we did during those particular times. And then we fought in the Civil War, the Revolutionary War. We fought in the First and the Second World War. We fought in Vietnam, Afghanistan, all of those things. And people are still trying to say that we're not capable of being able to fight and not capable of being able to lead. And what is getting me is the question that I'm having: what is it in that, whoever that white person, male, is? I'm not saying all white people, but what is it in that white male who continues to oppress us that allows him to ignore all of the stuff that we've done and all of the things that we've accomplished, even under pressure? What is he afraid of? I can kind of feel a part of, if I had 200 slaves, and at that time, slaves were bringing in 80% of the income, man. Do you understand? 80% of the income we were bringing in through cotton, tobacco, rice, and other products. So if someone says, we're going to take you slaves, emancipation, how do I eat? How do I maintain my property? How do I take care of my family? Because all my life, I haven't done a damn thing other than slavery. And now you take those people away. I don't know how to plant cotton. I don't know what to do with tobacco. I don't even know how to build my own roads. I don't even know how to build my own damn house.
They got AI.
That's right. Not me. They wish they, I mean, but can you imagine the fear that would especially someone who was wealthy? That means all of your wealth is gone.
Yeah.
So that, man, that's frightening.
Huh.
And so I'm sure that was part of. Now, the poor white people, they didn't have anything. Only thing they just needed a job somewhere, but they didn't. They had not accumulated. Benjamin Franklin said, "If we give you poor people a slave, it will make you even more irresponsible than you already are." He said, because now you're not responsible for any. And this is what he said about his own people. So that's the thing. What is it inside of the brain of that white dude who wants to continue to oppress, who wants to continue to deny that we don't have whatever it is, and also that he knows everything that we get into, we excel in. You know, I would love. So if there's somebody out there, black, white, otherwise, and not just knocking people, I want to know the truth. Give me, if you have some real data to explain what is it that causes that person to continue to want to oppress. And the only thing I can think of is what it's fear.
You gotta leave us on a positive note. You gotta get something like
Okay, positive.
yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay,
You scan the white. You scan the people.
Yeah, but see, but I think it's kind of positive because I'm asking for some input from them.
Yes.
You know, if they're there. You know, and as I said, I don't like to say white people. I would probably say the elite, the elite white folk. So that leaves all the other white people. That leaves other probably, 70% of them doing the same thing that I'm doing every single day. So that's a piece there. So the positive note,
that's encouragement for the people that are fighting the positive note for the oppressed.
Yeah,
some encouragement.
The positive note for the people who are being oppressed is, you know what it is? Stand the hell up.
Yeah.
My thing is stand the hell up. We've been sitting much too long. We have the skill, we have the knowledge, we have the talent, we have the intellectual capital to do anything that we want to do. Anything that your mind can conceive, anything that you can see, then you can do it. And we can do it. And I think what history has proven is that we do have the skill set. We do have the talent. So we're wealthy in our minds, and we become even more and more wealthy when we stand up and start to self-actualize. And there's some people religious who don't like the self-actualization. And what I try to share with them is God gave me all this stuff. And if I'm not using it, I'm not paying attention or listening to what God said. Because that's the stuff that makes me think. So if I'm not thinking, then I am disobedient. So my God says, use the talent that I gave you. God helps those who help themselves. God is not an interventionist. He's going to rush down and get you some cereal. That ain't happening. If you want some cereal, you got to do some work to make the money to be able to go and do that. So that would be the positive thing. We have the talent, we have the skill, we have every single thing that we need to achieve whatever goals we want to achieve. And what I want to do is just say stand. And I get an acronym that has, I took stand and turned it into something, but that's where we need to be. And I think stop focusing on the negative, stop listening to the news every hour or every 30 minutes, because all they do is repeat the same thing that they've been repeating. And come up with your vision for you, come up with your mission for you, and write that down. And then come up with what I call, what are those critical success factors that you need to have to move you forward to achieve your happiness, to achieve your goals and objectives. Critical success factors are those things that you must do in order to be able to achieve your goals and your objectives. So that would be the positive thing for me.
All right.
Does that work?
Yes, sir.
All right.
As Dr. Eric Thomas would say, you owe you.
You owe you. I like that.
Yeah.
You owe you. I like that. That's great.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, I like that one. Work that one.